Good morning. There I am. I was waiting to get on there. What a tune. If that doesn't pump you up for Friday, I don't know what will. I feel like a Radio 1 DJ about to it's Friday, it's nearly the weekend, and it's back with us. Yeah, it's made me overexcited. Hello, everybody. Welcome to NextGen Planners Buzz. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I am Amelia Hamilton. I am the head of community at NextGen Planners, and I'm one of your hosts of NextGen Planners Buzz. Because I don't do this alone, I have two wonderful co-hosts. Here they are. Welcome, Tom, Joe. Do you want to, before we kick things off, introduce who you are to any new audience members that we've got today? Tom, start with you. Who are you?
Perfect. Yeah. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm a chartered financial planner and just a member of NextGen and a lover of NextGen. I chat about this way too much, but yeah, I do love this stuff. So yeah, I keep coming back for more.
Amazing. And Joe, who are you?
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm also a chartered financial planner, but more kind of locally referred to as a dopamine dealer. So try and bring a bit of happiness to people's morning. But yeah, also part of the NextGen community. I'm really, really excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, this is us. This is your host. These are your hosts for today. How are you guys doing? How has your week been? Before we get into any other stuff, any news, anything interesting happening with you? No,
I mean, it's the calm before the storm, but also the storm before the calm at the moment in our world. I don't know if you're the same, Tom, but yeah. I am waiting for the 30th of October to come and go, because right now it is painful. It is painful. For those of you that don't know, that's the budget that I'm talking about. But yeah, it's keeping me on my toes.
I think just to add to that, I think like I'm almost more excited for next Friday, because by that point there's almost nothing we can do for certain things, you know, in terms of really we can't push enough buttons quick enough for things to happen before budget. So yeah, I'm equally as excited for it to be over and done with. I don't think it's going to be as bad as they made out, but maybe not. Who knows? Let's see.
We'll see.
Who knows? Time
How about
will
you, Amelia? Anything exciting your end?
Yeah, well, I was about to segue that into the actual news, but sure, let's have we'll have 30 seconds on me. What's new with me? God, really not much. I had one of those weekends last weekend where I didn't actually do anything as well. When you're like, what? I've just wasted that. So this weekend I'm trying to like plan stuff to make the most of it. The week's been fairly busy. Got the podcast recording next week. So that will be fun. Yeah, not a huge amount of personal news with me as well. I'll work on it for next time. I'll have something interesting for you. But back to my segue, which I was going to link from the budget, which is not yet. We've got other news stories. Every show will take you through some stuff that's been happening in the world news as well as our news before we interview our fabulous guests. So first of all, let's throw things over to what's it called? What's the news section called? Can anyone
Insight
remember?
Scoop.
There you go. He's had his money as a co-host today. Let's throw things over to the Insight Scoop. What would I do without you, Tom? What would I do without you? Well, I'm going to give you the first news story then, if that's all right with you. And that is, this is the UK inflation slid to its lowest level since April 2021 last month, and below the Bank of England's 2% target, increasing the chances of an imminent cut to interest rates. What are your thoughts on this?
I've got two on this. Good news, because obviously it gets them closer to the target. Great news. We're all happy with that, and I think that obviously it means that interest rates are coming down. Everything kind of feels a bit more normal, if we can call it that. But the cynic in me is that obviously last month's figures are also used for the state pension for next year, right? So the lowest raise in however many years that has been. So I'm slightly cynical on it, and I think that, you know, I'm not saying that they have the ability to be that predictive, but it just seems very convenient in my humble opinion.
Good thoughts there.
Tom, you're never the cynic. What's happened? It's normally me that's doing that. It's a role reversal.
I had to be, because I think that it's just one of those things we're talking about all the time, and I think that it seems convenient, but it's probably where it should be, to be honest. So I don't think anyone's surprised. It's just the cynic in me says that it's convenient.
Yeah.
There we go. Jo, over to you for the next news story, I believe.
Yeah, well, this is a little bit different. So apparently, a third of UK households are now buying groceries at Marks and Spencer's after the retailer invested in improving the quality of thousands of products. Amelia, thoughts?
Yeah. I was surprised by this. I think that's why it really, I wanted to put it out there as a story to discuss, because it seems to go against a lot of what you're hearing with the, Aldi and Lidl coming up and really having their share. But I was looking at the M&S really took a dip like a few years ago. So they spent loads of energy and like strategy money looking at how to get the value better, quality better, sustainability better. And it seemed to work. Their market share keeps going up, which is really interesting. And I think even across not just their groceries, it's like their clothes and stuff as well. They've seemed to be reaching a new demographic. Like even my age group are going, oh, there's some good stuff in there. This is pretty cool. But I was reminded that maybe it's not that they're getting younger, it's that I'm just getting older. And that's why it's appealing to me now. So I prefer the first thought, but yeah, a really interesting one that clearly they're doing something right in what they're doing there. Obviously, the other budget supermarkets have a very, very strong place. But yeah, interesting to see that M&S is really, really getting up there.
Yeah, it's nice to see the strategy working, isn't it?
Can I have one thing to it? Just I don't know if anyone ever watches these.
Are you going to be cynical, Tom?
No, I'm not actually. Quite the opposite. I was going to be pro M&S for a second. So, but I don't know if anyone watches the Instagram Shorts or TikToks or whatever they are, wherever they actually originate from, and then get reposted everywhere, or YouTube Reels, just because we're on there. Where obviously, if you do your whole shop or you get like the essential bits compared like Asda versus M&S, I think typically it's within like 50p. So if you actually just get like tomatoes, cucumber, mushrooms kind of thing, or whatever your weekly shop looks like, whatever that is, then 50p, like really. And usually M&S is closer to where you are than wherever Aldi and Lidl are, because obviously, they're just a bit more convenient, aren't they? So yes.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, it's all marketing, isn't it? You just think it's fancier, even though it's not necessarily.
Yeah, very true. Now you're being the cynical. So
now I am being the cynic. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Right, time to move on. Who's
let's
next?
move on. Final one. Google has struck a deal with a nuclear power startup to provide low carbon energy for its data centers and AI operations, making a world first in the tech industry. Super exciting. What's your thoughts on this, Jay?
Do you know, I got told the other week that apparently one search on ChatGPT is the same as the energy needed to charge an iPhone to 50%. So do you know what? Like, I know. Tell me about it. I will. If someone wants to fact check me, I'll try and find the the actual source of that. But to be fair, if you think about it, if every time someone searches on ChatGPT or AI or whatever, I can see why they're going to need to invest in energy and hopefully cleaner energy and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, it takes a lot. Like, there's loads of crazy statistics about the amount of energy usage for just like cloud storage and data processing nowadays anyway, before you even look at AI. So I'm going to be positive about it, and I'm going to say that actually the only way that we're going to get better, cleaner, renewable energy is if people have the funding for it. And there's obviously, Google are just a reasonable sized company with a decent bit of money behind them. So hopefully it means it will get some advances in technology faster to be able to get kind of cleaner, more renewable energy, like certain types of nuclear power potentially. But yeah, I am not surprised by it based on those kind of facts that I will fact check, find the sources of. But either way, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Definitely. Excellent thoughts there. Before Tom jumps in and says something else cynical, I'm going to wrap up this little segment. And before I throw things over to you, Tom, who's going to be interviewing our wonderful guest this week, just a reminder, like and subscribe to this channel. There's all sorts of stuff happening. The video of the podcast gets put up here. We have masterclasses that get put on this channel all the time. So all sorts of stuff that will be really useful and interesting for you guys to look at. So yeah, like and subscribe. And the other thing I want to do is just highlight something within our community that you can look at this week. And we have got in our CPD on demand section, which has got hundreds of hours of CPD, we have a program called Client Meeting Skills. And that covers really interesting stuff, from understanding the value you deliver as financial planners, asking high quality open questions, also presenting your solutions, lots of things like that. So go and check that out too. But enough of that. It's time to hand things over to my wonderful co-host, Tom, who will be interviewing our brilliant guest this week, Verity Corbett. Over to you.
Good morning, Verity. How are you?
Hello.
Good to have you with us.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you for having me on.
Oh, amazing. How do you want to just do a really quick introduction, just like a brief introduction, and then we'll go straight into the question.
Hello, everybody. I'm Verity Corbett. I'm an independent financial planner from Crofton Oaks, based in Shropshire. I've been doing this for a bit over a year now, but prior to that, I spent 18 years as a maths teacher and head of maths for 14 of those.
Amazing. Obviously, we had a quick chat off there about maths. I'm not allowed to talk about maths particularly, so we're going to leave that slightly in a box. But obviously, how do you go from being the head of maths in a secondary school to being a financial planner? Like, what sparked the interest in coming over to this industry? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get a bit older, you start to become a bit more aware of all of the different aspects of responsibilities and pensions, perhaps a little bit more, and you start to hear potentially people who've got family members that have died, and inheritance and all those sorts of things. And I think I knew that I wanted to change from teaching, and one of the jobs, I wanted something that still had sort of problem solving, working with people, making a difference. And one of the jobs that sort of kept being mentioned when I was trying to narrow it down was financial planner. And then the more I investigated it, the more I thought, yeah, that's for me.
Amazing. And what sort of, obviously there's massive challenges in all industries, but what's sort of the biggest challenge you've faced in making the switch to becoming a financial planner?
I think I was well, I suppose sometimes you say you make your own luck. I think I was reasonably lucky that I did find a role. Once I decided on it, I found a role that I'm absolutely over the moon with. I think it's a great company and it does fulfill all the criteria that I wanted. Having said that, I think for me the biggest challenge was discovering what that criteria was. So I think if you're not in financial planning, which I obviously wasn't, then it's a minefield of the difference between all the different aspects of restricted, under a network, totally independent. Is it a chartered firm? Is it a huge company? Is it a small company? Will you be self-employed? Will you be employed? What does the training that they're going to offer you look like? What's the support package? All those sorts of things. So I think for me, that was the bit that took me the longest to get my head around. And once I had, and I knew, right, this is the direction of travel I want. I want a firm that's local to me with an office space that I can go to. So I've got a support network. I don't want it to be massive so that me and my clients, in my opinion, could get lost. I don't want it to be tiny so that I'm on my own and I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed whilst I'm getting to grips with getting really good at this. I wanted to be independent. If possible, I wanted to be a chartered firm, and so that they will support me in that journey to chartered and they'll understand the importance of it. So all those sorts of things, that then enabled me to really narrow down my list. And then when I think I was talking to companies, because I just sent I changed my LinkedIn, I thought a lot about that. And then I sent my details out to any company, not any company, but to companies starting local and moving out that I thought met my criteria. And I was lucky that my favourite one actually chose me as much as I chose them.
Amazing. It sounds like you went through quite an intense period of time. So just slightly, obviously you've done your diploma. You said, I think you're diploma qualified and on the route to chartered, obviously based on what you just said. So did you do the exams while still being employed at the school, or did you come to the new firm and then do your examinations with the firm with that training that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, it was a massive thing for me leaving school, and I know we can't talk about maths as much as we'd like to, but it was huge for me. And I think for my own psychology, I did one exam before I physically broke up for the summer while I was still a teacher. Of all things, I did RO1, which was madness. But I did that about 2 weeks before we broke up for school. But in my head then, I'd started successfully that journey. So when I went rather than feeling like still like, am I going to be able to do this? I passed the first one before I left. I mean, I was already got to leave, but in my head, I then did RO5 during the summer holidays, and then I did the remaining ones under the, whilst I was working, and they've sort of put me on a mini apprenticeship, if you like. So I did a variety of roles within the company, and moved on once I'd sort of grasped that to support me. So now I do have an understanding of the different roles.
And as someone that has transition careers, what advice would you give to any other professionals that are considering this, especially people that are educators, and when they're considering a shift to financial planning? Is there anything that you'd give as advice to those people?
I think for me, it is the sorts of things I've already talked about. It's about really taking the time to investigate all of the different options, so that whatever option it is you'll choose, or even you're offered, if you don't have a huge number of choices, at least I am going down this path. This is the sort of company I'm working for. This is what it means for me. This is how long I'm likely to want to stay at that company based on that. Now, if it's perfect for you, like me, I don't have any particular feel like I'm going to need to leave Crofton Oaks as things stand at the moment. But maybe if I'd gone down one of the other routes, I would have always known that was a shorter term fix to get me qualified and get me started. So I think that side of things is really important. And then I do talk about this an awful lot, but it's because I genuinely mean it. I did most of RO1. Not only was I still being a school teacher, but with just the textbook. And then I discovered NextGen Planners. And honestly, and I know it sounds like I'm just saying this because I'm on a NextGen Planners sort of podcast thing, but that transformed the world for me and made learning enjoyable. And I had people I could talk to, before I'd even started to approach companies, perhaps that, no, actually I probably had by then, but either way, I had people I could talk to, people that were helping me, people that could explain things, which was absolutely brilliant. And John Dunkley, his training videos, as a teacher myself, the way that he gives you, I haven't got time for me to relay them now, but the scenarios he gives of when he's done things, and the trust he had to bust, and the person who had a rack and didn't know he had to claim, and all those things really helped me, because I felt like not only did I pass the exams to a reasonable extent, I actually did understand what I was learning. I wasn't just tick boxing to choose the right A, B, C, or D. And okay, I've got to maintain that, and I've got to develop that, and I've got to be able to continue to apply it correctly. But I found that brilliant.
Amazing. We'll send you the £10 in the post, I think, for the NextGen Planners.
No, I mean it. I really do. I my first name's linked to the name Truth, and I've always been brought up Don't Lie. And I genuinely thank you so much, because I would have found it so hard without that.
Oh, amazing. And we've got about 1 minute left, so I'm going to ask you the rapid fire question. I just want a quick answer, if that's possible.
Okay.
So what are your goals for the next few years in financial planning? Have you got anything you'd like to specialize in? You've got about 45 seconds. Go.
Okay. I want to carry on to chartered. For me, I think that's important. And I don't really know what my specialism is, so I want to just keep refining. I want to be one of those financial planners that can do more than just your average case. I want to be able to do the more complicated cases, and I want to be able to do them really well. So I'm going to continue working with the more experienced people here when I need them, and lean on them, so that I can be, able to do brilliant advice for whoever I sit down in front of.
Fantastic. I think that's some great goals. I think that's a really good time to say thank you so much for joining us on the NextGen Planners Buzz podcast. I'm going to bring back Joe and Amelia, and I think Amelia is going to do a delightful sign off, because she's way better at this than I ever am.
Also, what a great guest, Verity. That was fantastic. Excellent interviewing you, Tom, as well. But I was loving that. I was really enjoying also just listening and just watching, because I've done, I think, most of the interviews on here, and it was just lovely to be able to go, oh yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And yes, as Tom said, thank you for the free advertising. We'll take it any day of the week. Amazing. And obviously you won our community champion award this year for all of the help you've also given other people as well. So it's not just been one-sided. Clearly you've been really helpful for other people too. So thank you for all of your effort in the community and being a great member. That's it for the show this week. I've had a lovely time. I've really enjoyed this Buzz show. Thank you very much to all of you for watching. Thank you, Verity, for your wonderful answers. And Tom and Joe, thank you. You guys as always.
Bye.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. The next show is back in 2 weeks. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.